welcome to episode 51 of Mitolife Radio. Well, we're at the end of the year, and I thought what a better time than to do a recap of basically what I've learned this entire year. And since I've started this podcast, I've been really blown away with how much I've grown just by interviewing guests on my show. And you actually hear that. I was in the teaching field for 4 years, and that's the best way to learn, is to teach. And you're not regurgitating information, you're sharing information, and you're staying open so that when a guest on the show tells me something that goes against my belief system or what I understand to be reality, then I can shift and change. And that's how I've actually branded myself or marketed myself or whatever you want to call it, is being adaptable, right? Used to sell omega-3 supplements, and now I say they're poison. And I truly believe they are poison. And I think it's a sign of integrity to be able to change, and it's a sign of humility. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just trying to inspire people that are listening to this to be like that. And so it's been a wild ride with this podcast, and just amazing guests. I've had a lot of repeat guests on. Adam Bergstrom I had on 3 times. Josh Rubin I had on a few times. Andrew Latour with the red light therapy. Dr. Cass Ingram had on a few times. Who else? Georgie Dinkoff. People were just begging to have Georgie back on the show. Oh, and Morley Robbins, of course. I had him on 3 times. And it's funny when people ask me questions on Instagram, because a lot of my information, if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole like I have in certain ways, I would look crazy, right? I'm promoting sugar. I'm promoting, aspirin in context. And all of these things, people say, what do you mean? I mean, I thought these things were bad for you. Well, there's no way that I could give you a soundbite in 5 or 10 seconds or a tweet and convince you, right, that sugar is the primary fuel of the cell, right? The mitochondria runs on sugar. That's not going to shift people's opinion in a tweet or in a small little soundbite. But what I can do is point you to episodes, right? What do you mean, Matt, that anemia doesn't exist, that it's psychosomatic? Well, it is psychosomatic. It's in your head. There's no such thing as iron anemia. It's physiologically impossible to be iron deficient. How can you be iron deficient if acid rain liberates iron and alumina, which are 2 of the most prevalent minerals in the Earth's crust? Acid rain peels them off of rocks in unnaturally high amounts. How can you be deficient in iron? You're not. It's impossible. No one on this earth is iron deficient. And if that alone piqued your interest, well, why haven't you listened to my Morley Robbins interview yet? And it's called How Minerals Run the Show. I can't tell you how many times I send that episode to people. It's episode 23, and I think that's one of my best. It's one to listen to multiple times, especially if quote unquote anemia, the misdiagnosis, runs in your family, or fatigue, or you have Lyme or mold illness or any of these things. Because guess what? Pathogens don't feed on sugar. Sugar actually helps boost the immune system. What do pathogens feed on? Iron. And if iron is in the wrong spot and the macrophages can't get rid of it because they're copper deficient and all these other things, then you're going to have infection. It's not the sugar's fault, right? People are blaming sugar when they should blame PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids. And really, since I've started this show, I was from the get-go very vocal about how highly unsaturated fatty acids are poison, but I've been getting more and more vocal about it because it's almost a $20 billion a year industry that's harming specifically women and children, but also causing dementia and Alzheimer's in your grandparents and in these elderly people that are in nursing homes that can barely recognize themselves in the mirror. Why can't they recognize themselves in the mirror? Because they've been poisoned by not only vegetable oil, but by DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, 22 carbon, 6 double bond, poison. And that accumulates in the body. What do you get when you get omega-3 poisoning plus iron poisoning? You get lipofuscin. And to me, that is the root cause of almost every disease. So in the last few weeks, I launched a protocol called the CLF protocol. And that stands for calcification, lipofuscin, fibrosis. These are things that accumulate in the body, accumulate in the tissues, and inhibit mitochondrial respiration, that stop electron chain transport. And how does it do it? Well, it's a very simple mechanism. Can't get the terminal electron acceptor oxygen to the mitochondria, the whole cell fails, it falls apart. And that's not even to mention if someone's sugar deficient and they're keto, right? Or protein deficient. All these things play a part, but especially carbohydrate deficient. No CO2, no oxygen. You have CLF, you have no oxygen, right? Because oxygen can't get to the tissue because these things are blocking, they're literally choking the cell. And so I've heard about calcification years ago, different quack, fake raw vegan educators with frizzy hair on stage talking about the sun's energy and all these woo-woo new age things, right? So a lot of people have been talking about calcification, but that's kind of gone underground in the last, I would say, 5 years. No one's really talking about calcification anymore, and that really blows my mind because that's why an elderly person can't bend. That's why they're walking around like a hunchback with their head at a freaking 90-degree angle to their body. That's insanity. And people are just turning into stone. They're turning into rock because calcium oxalate crystals, hydroxyapatite crystals cake your body. They clog it up. And where does the excess calcium come from? Because that's the thing. If you don't understand how NPK fertilizer and acid rain affects your body, you're going to say, Matt, the CLF protocol, this is conspiracy stuff. What are you talking about? I don't have excess calcium. I don't supplement calcium. I take my magnesium, right? Well, it's very, very, very complex. That's why I started Mitolife Radio. I can't give sound bites to give you the whole picture. Just YouTube Geoff Lawton NPK fertilizer. And it's like a 20-minute clip, and then you can find lectures from him on YouTube that are about an hour long. To me, he's the world's expert on nitrogen, phosphate, potassium fertilizer, which is complete poison. And when you stack that with fungicides, herbicides, insecticides, acid rain, NPK, glyphosate, excess iron and aluminum. I mean, the minerals are not only not there, guys. That's the thing that. Another reason why I started the show. Everyone's talking about, everyone's mineral deficient. Well, let's get out of kindergarten for a second and go to high school. Okay, the soil's not mineral deficient. The soil's mineral toxic, right? And to get that, you have to listen to some episodes of my show where I'm still working on getting an expert on, because I talk to farmers, homesteaders, and they say, NPK, they have a basic understanding, but acid rain, what are you talking about? I'm drinking spring water and feeling great, right? Just like on a keto diet, you feel great because you're running on adrenaline, but you'll eventually burn out. And then acid rain will burn out your bones. It'll actually dissolve your bones, because if it can dissolve brick walls, statues, and overpasses, what is it doing to your actual skeletal system? It's dissolving it, right? So what do you get when you dissolve your skeleton? You fill up 70% of your cell with lipofuscin, and you have systemic calcification throughout your entire body. Well, let's just say that you're not going to be running on all cylinders. You're not playing with a full deck of cards. And I throw around the word retardation a lot, and I get flack for it. I'm recovering from mental retardation. It's just a fact. If you look at the state of the world right now, I would say to not acknowledge that there's chronic, widespread mental retardation going on in the populace, that's a sign of your retardation, because we're living in a mad world right now, and people are not able to conceptualize solutions and creatively come up with solutions. And I mean, let's just start with water, right? I mean, everyone can't figure out what water to drink. Forget the food. You're 71% water. Everyone's confused about what water to drink. It's like spring water, right? All the biohackers. Another reason why I started the show. To counteract all of the Kundalini yoga, psychedelic using, Timothy Leary inspired, Ram Dass, all that BS. I'm not into it. This is actually a Christian show, and it's based on very practical things that you can apply. So I like to think that I'm grounded, right? So Mitolife Radio is a grounded show. I'm not going to ever recommend psychedelics or yoga, which wrecks the body. Listen to Naudi Aguilar of Functional Patterns to learn why yoga is not good for you for many reasons, not just energetically. Physically, it's not good for you either. It's not good in any respects. So I get fired up with this stuff because no one's talking about it. No one. I listen to these podcasts and they're recommending molecular hydrogen. They're recommending nootropics, qualia, all this BS that we don't need. Guys, you're dehydrated. You're dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, your brain doesn't work. Now do you see where I get mental retardation? What happens when you shrink the brain? Well, you're not thinking properly, right? Not to say I'm a genius, but I've done a lot of work to get here. And I would like to think that I prioritize the foundational stuff, right? And the people that talk about light water and magnetism are getting you on an acid trip, sulfuric and nitric acid rain. Guys, the spring water is no good. It's full of iron and acid rain, probably some aluminum, but let's just say iron and acid rain alone. That will wreck you over decades. How about just microdose some iron and acid rain, sulfuric and nitric, which eats statues again. Eats statues. Just microdose that for decades, 20 years, 30 years. I'm feeling great. Try 50 years, 60 years. It's dissolving your bones, right? So this is why I have on my featured products on my website the Pristine Hydro travel unit, which I think is really affordable. And this is another thing that gets me kind of fired up, is looking at these multi-level marketing companies. Forget the green powder companies that are totally toxic, right? NPK green powders. How's that going to get you healthy? It's not. Forget those. Let's talk about the alkaline water ionizers, right? The Kangen. What a waste of money. What a ripoff. The only thing that filter does is it electrocutes the water with electrolysis. And people don't even call it a water filter. Well, why are you investing $4,000 in something that's not even a water filter? I don't get it. And people have a lot of misconceptions about water. Like you can add some drops to your water and it will raise the pH or make it mineralized or whatever kind of marketing. That's not how water chemistry works. You can't add something to water and benefit it. You have to start with pure water. And you start with pure water by getting a Pristine Hydro water revival unit that has different specific types of cation and anion resin filters that remove multiple different types of acids, because that's the thing. You have to understand what pollutants you're dealing with to choose what filter you need, right? Like I just purchased a home here in Idaho and I'm on a well, and well water is notorious for having a lot of iron, right? Surprise, surprise. Acid rain. Of course there's iron. There's iron in all the water, right? And they call it oxidative stress, right? The rusting is part of the aging process. Well, guess what? If you have excess iron in your body, you have accelerated aging. I want to talk about Alzheimer's, dementia, wrinkles, Photoaging of the skin is related to polyunsaturated fatty acid, DHA poisoning, right? So my CLF protocol addresses these things, multiple different factors. How are you going to get the calcium out of your body if you're drinking Berkey water, right? Or drinking Kangen water, which is just acid-free tap water, right? Still hard water, still 300, 400, 500 parts per million, depending on where you are in the world. Doesn't remove any of the rocks, right? Of the inorganic rocks. You're drinking rocks, right? And we're eating rocks. So that's why I came out with the product Panacea with Mitolife, which are convenient, easy to take, pure Shilajit resin tablets. Because Shilajit will actually dissolve the rocks. When I think of decalcifiers, I think of magnesium and Shilajit, vitamin K2, there's certain other things. But the main ones, magnesium, Shilajit, those are really easy for people to get on. So if you get a pristine hydro water filter, you get the Panacea product, then you're on your way to softening the tissues and getting oxygen and blood and energy back to the tissues, right? So they're not going necrotic, they're not dying. So that's a big part of my protocol, what I share, the CLF protocol. You must get oxygen to the cell. If oxygen doesn't get to the cell, you can't make ATP, right? And there's all these cofactors, right? It's MAG ATP, it's MG-ATP. You need magnesium to make energy. And you need CO2, right, from sugar to make energy. Right? Oxidative phosphorylation, mitochondrial respiration. So listen to the shows of my podcast that pique your interest. You know, I would say a must listen to are the Morley Robbins episodes, especially the first one. But where magnesium fits into the puzzle, the second one is good as well. Busting sugar myths with Adam Bergstrom, that's a fun one. It could trigger a lot of people that are keto. I love triggering those people. It's funny, the less sugar someone eats, I notice, the more on edge they are. It's really funny. And the reason for that is because stress is the perceived need for sugar. The antidote to stress is sugar/carbohydrate. I use those words synonymously. And so if you restrict sugar, if you drain the liver of glycogen, how is it supposed to perform its 500 functions? I get asked every day, Matt, what do you do for COPD? I just got that question today. What do you recommend for eczema? What do you recommend for this and this and that? I just keep pointing people to the CLF protocol because it's the root. It's foundational, right? And a lot of people might just want to, handle their symptoms, but chasing symptoms, as Josh Rubin says, he has a lot of great sayings, stop chasing symptoms because you'll just get lost. And it's an endless chase. You'll never get to the end. So trying to heal your body based on symptoms is just stupid. It's not the way to go about it. The way to go about it is just to get healthy. Do the foundational stuff. Don't skip breakfast. Eat within 30 minutes upon waking. Carbs and protein with every meal. Food frequency. Find the food frequency that works best for you. Might be every couple hours, right? Might be 5 meals a day. Have to experiment with that. And I would say be a little less neurotic about the type of foods. And I think this is where a lot of people get caught up. What do you mean bread? Even sprouted bread. That's gluten, Matt. That's poisonous. Well, it's a great carbohydrate source, right? And it tastes good. And I feel great on it. So I think people get a little too crazy with the specifics of types of food. And I think they get lost in those details. And so I eat a lot of pancakes, obviously homemade. I wouldn't recommend Denny's pancakes or going out. But if you make your own stuff at home, for example, gummy bears. I had a post on that a while back on my Instagram. Homemade gummy bears, super easy to make. Great Lakes gelatin, right? Half a cup, 1.5 cups sugar, a little splash of organic fruit juice, a little squeeze of lemon, stir it up on low heat on the stove, pour it into molds, right? You can make cubes, or you can get actual, I like little bear molds, put those in there. And you have gelatin and sugar. You have a great fuel for hiking. Way better than nuts and seeds. All right, do not eat nuts and seeds in high amounts. This is what's giving people a lot of the problem. Not only is there a lot of PUFA in the nuts and seeds themselves, but a lot of the time they're cooked in really toxic oils. And this is another piece that's important to get going back. Like I said, the soil's not mineral deficient, it's mineral toxic. This is another piece. Who cares if you're consuming rancid oils? Right? Who cares? If you consume perfectly preserved, let's just say vegetable oil, algae oil, whatever it is, perfectly preserved, it's not rancid at all. You know, and this, people get so tripped up on this. This is basic chemistry. Perfectly preserved oil. It's not rancid. You put that in your body, you're warm, you're 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. You have heat, light, and oxygen flowing through your entire body. Your cells communicate with UV light. You have infrared going on. You have tons of oxygen, right? Heat, light, oxygen. Who cares if the oil is not rancid outside of you? Once it goes inside of a body, especially with iron poisoning, you get lipid peroxidation to the max. You get ALOX enzymes adding oxygen to PUFAs. And everyone has iron poisoning because everyone grew up with World War II iron fortification. Everyone grew up drinking hard water, right? Tap water, spring water, Berkey water, fridge water, whatever it was. Hard water. Metal filings in your cereal. Can't tell you how many Lucky Charms and Cheerios I grew up with. Metal filings in your cereal for your entire childhood. You want to tell me you're not iron toxic? You want to tell me that PUFAs aren't the root cause of all your problems? To me, that's insanity. So iron fortification, drinking iron, and then this is the third one, iron in the produce. Right? Because you say, where's all this iron coming from, Matt? What do you mean? Well, if you listen to the Morley Robbins interview, you only need 1 milligram orally. 1 milligram daily requirement for iron. Only one. You eat fortified cereal. There's 20, 30 milligrams in one bowl. And it's the worst form of iron. And it doesn't leave your body. And it gets stuck in your tissues. And that iron reacts with PUFA, aluminum, ultraviolet light, right? So someone, let's just say 4th of July, party, America, woo. Okay, they go to the beach. They have a beer, Coors Light, right? And they just got done eating fish and chips with their friend. They ate fish and chips fried in canola oil, breaded in canola oil. PUFA flowing through their veins. Go to the beach, shirtless, cooking like a lobster all day long, drinking a Coors Light. Well, there's tap water in there, and aluminum and fluoride. And you have iron in your body, and now you have PUFA flowing through you. Just add purple light, ultraviolet light from the sun, out there for 6, 8, 9 hours all day long, cooking like a lobster. That really, you want to talk about mental retardation, that is the recipe right there. If I wanted to make someone retarded, 4th of July, beach day, they're done. They're cooked. And it's almost irreversible. Almost irreversible. It takes years to reverse this. This is what people don't understand. You don't do a 10-day Purium cleanse and get better. You don't do any cleanse and get better for short term. You don't do a round of herbs, right? This is complex stuff. So that's why I made the CLF protocol, is you have to have logical steps to removing these obstructions, to creating cellular energy, right? Because you can give a name of any disease, right? Lupus, pulmonary fibrosis, Hashimoto's, heart murmurs, arrhythmias, strokes, dementia, whatever name, right? I don't care about the name. What I care about is, are those cells in your brain, in your heart, in your thyroid, in your kidney, in your lung, in your liver, are those cells caked with garbage? Can they breathe? Because if your cells can't breathe in certain organs and glands, forget the name of the disease. Just forget that name, because that's how they scare you and then get you on all the meds, right? They put you down this really weird rabbit hole. That's a trap, and you'll get lost. Forget about all that. Stop suffocating your cells with calcification, lipofuscin, and fibrosis. That's the starting point, right? You might want to get some real water too. You might want to take care of the inorganic minerals in the food and the produce. Maybe cut back on the vegetables. Maximize the fruit a little bit. Fruits, potatoes. I like bee products. I like raw dairy a lot. I like red meat a lot. Minimize turkey, chicken, fish, maybe some oysters once a week for the copper, zinc, selenium. You're not doing it for the omega-3s. Just logical stuff, right? Talking at the mineral level, the foundational level of health. Vitamins, minerals, enzymes. And these things all work together. They're cofactors, right? Personally, I don't think one's more important than the other. And people that sell products in each category will tell you that this one's the most important. They're all equally important. Vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. Need them all. Right? But what I find the weakest link for most people is the minerals. Most people are severely, chronically magnesium deficient. And it shows. If you ever have headaches, if you ever have insomnia, if you ever have back pain, right? If you're ever irritable, these are all signs, depressed, anxious, these are all signs of magnesium deficiency. So sometimes the solution is very simple, right? And I like how Morley said that in my show. He said, humans like to make things complex. And that's so true. Complex is fun, I think. And sometimes it's fun to go down those rabbit holes, but don't get stuck there, right? Because the solutions can be easier than you think. Whether it's Lyme, mold toxicity, vaccine damage, whatever it is, the solutions could be easier than you think. And on the topic of vaccine damage, I just want to, since I'm on kind of a tirade here, I want to talk about TRS, that product. I'm not a fan. I think Shilajit does it better, and it's more natural, than zeolite products. And so if I understand it right, that's a multi-level marketing company, which I'm anti multi-level marketing. Let me make that very clear. Anti-MLM. So Shilajit does it better. Shilajit contains fulvic acid, which chelates and complexes all monovalent and divalent atoms. What does that mean? It means you have rocks in the tissue. How are you going to get them out? How are you going to make them usable, right? You're going to use fulvic acid, but you're not going to take a liquid supplement, because that's been shown in studies to dissolve the bones of rats and mice, right? So you're going to use whole food Shilajit supplement. I wouldn't do the resin form in the little jar, because that's just a pain to work with. No one's going to use it. If you're going to have a supplement, you want to use it, right? And if you have that resin that you have to open the lid and do all that, it's too much work. So Mitolife, Panacea, you just pop them out. I take 5 a day. That's 1 gram of Shilajit. That's way higher dose than you would get from all those other Shilajit products that they tend to mark up kind of times 10. Really insane markups on Shilajit products. So that's a foundational thing for me, is Shilajit, because it's both a mineral supplement. It has all 84 plus organic carbon bonded minerals in it. It also has fulvic acid. So it's a 2-pronged thing. You're getting all the minerals, and then you have fulvic actually to deliver them. Right? And so the fulvic acid is not in our soil anymore because of acid rain, NPK fertilizer. No more fulvic. The plants can't convert rocks to organic. They can't convert an inorganic mineral to an organic. They can't encapsulate a metal in a carbon, a negatively charged carbon. That whole process is destroyed. And I see this daily on Instagram. People will say, I trust nature. Mother Nature knows best. Okay, can you tell me about the biogeochemical cycles? Can you tell me about the nitrogen cycle, the carbon cycle, the hydrological cycle, the sulfur cycle, the oxygen cycle, right? All these cycles, can you tell me how they work in the soil? Can you tell me how a plant converts an inorganic to an organic? Can you tell me how many fungus and how many bacteria are supposed to be in the soil? No, these people can't, right? Because they're all cracked out on green powder MLM companies, right? It's really brain damage, guys. I mean, a really good movie to watch that's a documentary is called Idiocracy. And, let's just give the plants Gatorade. The plants just need Gatorade and everything will be all good. Right? Same as the human body. It's like you're going to feed it alkaline ionized water, tap water, right? It's ridiculous to me. It's very ridiculous. So I'm going to keep speaking out about this stuff because it's just a little frustrating to me to see people getting taken advantage of. I've done consultations with clients and, I spent so and so money on this and, now I don't have money to buy a water filter or all these different things and that I recommend, right? Spore-based probiotics, maybe some beef liver, maybe some Shilajit, some systemic enzymes. People are just putting their money into the wrong things, specifically like algae oil, that toxic omega-3 supplement. That is not only a waste of money, but it combines with iron and forms this polymer plastic that is very, very hard to get out of the body. So in my article, the CLF protocol, I go into how to do that. And it's basically keeping the liver full of glycogen, because how is the liver going to function if it's energy deficient? It can't. So don't do keto, don't restrict sugar, and then the liver can do its 500 functions. That sounds pretty logical to me. And then maybe vitamin E, that seems pretty logical to me, especially given the fact that polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically PUFAs, highly unsaturated fatty acids, increase vitamin E requirements of the body by 6 times. So I don't know if there's enough, I don't know if 20 IUs in an almond once a day is enough, especially given the fact that polyunsaturated fats reduce the absorption of vitamin E, hence 6 times increased requirement of vitamin E. So vitamin E is one of those suppressed vitamins that was really big in the 70s. And then fish oil came in and changed the whole game and programmed people. Your brain's made of it. Your brain's made of fat. You want to prevent Alzheimer's. You want to have a better memory. All this marketing stuff, right? It's the exact opposite. Alzheimer's patients have the highest amount of omega-3 in the brain. Chew on that one for a little bit. Why is that? It's because it's poison. Because it shifts the cell from an oxidative state to a reductive state. It shifts it to a cancer metabolism. It suffocates the cell, omega-3s. They're not essential for human health. When you're EFA deficient, your body will make omega-9 meat acid, which is way more stable and way more beneficial. So it's fun to dabble in the supplements. I do that. It's always fun to try a new supplement, right? But just don't get lost in that supplement world, because you could just think that this is the next cure-all and this is the next cure-all, right? And if I only take this, try to simplify a little bit and kind of narrow down what exactly you need and go from there. And I think you'll get better results that way. So just a little recap of what happened to me this year. I moved from the mountains of Southern California to Idaho and really enjoying it here. It's beautiful. There's snow all the time, deer running around, wild turkeys, all sorts of creatures. And I've been having fun being able to go all out on this place, what I've been wanting to do for a while. So playing around with whole house filter and really upgrading my bed setup, since I know I'll never have to move that ever again. Because if you have experience with a Magnetico sleep pad, which is just, I think, the best bed upgrade someone can make, then once you put those mats down, like close to 200 pounds, you never want to move them. So ideally you own your house and you're never going to move that bed that you install those on. So this year I upgraded my bed to the Swiss Dream Bed. And if you call them, I think they give you a 5% discount if you mention Matt Blackburn. And the Swiss Dream Bed, I believe, is the best bed in the world. It's made of the cleanest materials. There's another popular bed on the market that is, I think, 5 or 6 times as costly, and it's the same exact bed. And so I do my best to find for you guys, not, rip off products that copied that are cheaper, but if I see a product that's super, super insanely marked up, right, and they're giving free ones away to NBA athletes and different things, there's a certain red light company that's doing that, and then trying to sue smaller companies and just, little BS things, bullying things. I'll try to, for the people, find high integrity companies and high integrity people that run those companies that just generally want to help people and improve the world. And, Gemba Red is one of those. I think that's one of the best red light companies in the world. Very effective. And this bed company, right? They don't want to make a killing on you and make, $7-8 grand per sale. So the Swiss Dream Beds, it's on their website. It's amazing. Just 1 week, there's an improvement in spinal health. It's kind of like doing a chiropractor adjustment because it's made with these slat systems, the slat system that adjusts your spine, whether you're a back sleeper or a side sleeper. And it's amazing. I really feel the difference. And just the materials, virgin sheep wool, aspen wood, just amazing stuff. So my current setup is that bed, best bed in the world, my opinion. And then I have the Magnetico sleep pad on there, and they kind of have to custom build it if you do it this way. So I have the Magnetico sleep pad on there, and then I have the chili pad of the Uller pad on top. And then in the room, I have a Winix plasma wave humidifier going, and I always keep that full. It goes through a full tub about every day. And so I keep that full, clean it out often with ozone almost every day, at least every other day. And then just make sure that the room is nice and dark. And I'll run a hypoallergenic air filter throughout the day, and then I'll just turn it off at night. I actually use the iAdapt small unit in my bedroom, and I'll switch that off right before bed. So I have clean air, no VOCs, humidified air. And to do the next extra thing, you could also do a essential oil diffuser. I've been having trouble finding a good one that's just like a lawnmower that will just run for like a decade. I've run through, essential oil diffuser after diffuser, and the motor just burns out. So if you guys know of any good ones, let me know. I'm playing around with one right now and seeing how it's working out. But the lights are another thing. The ones you can buy at malls and stuff, there's always annoying light around the side of it. One I bought has like a green light all the way around it. So anyway, sleep, that's huge. And then, of course, EMFs and sleep go hand in hand. And so the Blue Shield Ultra, and I use the Soma Vedic, I think the second to the best, the second to the most expensive is the one I use for the Soma Vedic. But even the Green Medic Ultra, that's the one I started with. That's very powerful, and that's probably enough for most people. And then I would say with the Blue Shield, the Cube is good. I would say just go for the Ultra. It's a lot better. And you're pretty much covered. I mean, to start with EMFs, the best thing you could do is just invest in a 20 Gauss Magnetico sleep pad from Dr. Dean Bonley. Listen to the episode if you haven't. I think that's one of the underrated episodes that I've done where I interviewed Dr. Dean Bonley in Nevada about his technology. And he invented this bed with a lot of clinical research behind it, especially for people with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, any kind of inflammation. And If you know anyone in pain, grandparents, parents, Magnetico Sleep Pad plus my Dissolvidol systemic enzymes, that's my best-selling product. I get insane testimonials from that. That's a powerful blend of nattokinase and serrapeptase. So that's from natto, and it's from the bacteria in the Japanese silkworm. And these two proteolytic enzymes work together to dissolve fibrinogen, that make up fibrosis or scar tissue in your body. So if you dissolve scar tissue, you take care of calcification, you take vitamin E every day. I take 4 capsules a day. I always get asked the question of dosage, so I'll just lay it out here in this episode. I would say 4 capsules minimum of my PUFA Protect product. That's what I take. It feels great. Sometimes I take more. I think one day I took 12 in a day. And it is dose dependent. So the more you take, the more benefit you get. Might sound salesy, but it's just true in the literature. And all the scare stuff about it, because you look at Google search engine optimization, of course, everything about omega-3s is good. And here's a list of products to buy with poisonous omega-3s. You search vitamin E, it's going to cause damage, and there's no products listed, right? That's for a reason. That's by design. You got to ask yourself, is vitamin E being suppressed? Obviously, it is. Obviously. You were raised on canola oil, vegetable oils. Did you go out with your friends? I did every other day. Went out to eat. Where are we going out to eat? Went to the mall. Orange chicken, right? Mongolian food. I can't tell you how many times I ate at that spot. Mexican food. I went to Giant Pizza King. This place. Grew up in San Diego. All these places, do you think they were cooking in coconut oil, guys? Do you think they were cooking in grass-fed butter? No, they were cooking all of the food you ate your entire childhood in PUFA, canola oil. It doesn't just leave you. It gets stuck. Like iron, like calcium, it gets stuck. It takes years to get this out of you. And with PUFA, 2 to 4 years. It really depends on the intensity, the severity of the saturation. But the omega-3, omega index test, it's all BS. The ratios, what about the ratio of omega? It's all fairy tale nonsense. There's no ratio to worry about. To me, I want to become omega-3 deficient so that I make mead acid. Look into omega-9. Right? My friend Rob Matt was just on YouTube the other day on a live, and he was asked this question. He made a really good point. He said, omega-3 has been such heavily marketed, and, omega-6 gets talked down to that says it's inflammatory. No, it's not inflammatory. Omega-9, right? Omega-6 and omega-9 are better and safer than omega-3s. So there's so much to unlearn, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that with you here on this show. And of course, question what I say, right? I said this in an interview recently with my friend Avishek. He had me on his show, and I said, I don't like when people say they're going to follow what I do to a T. Add your own little twist to it, right? Experiment. If something isn't working, switch it up. I don't want to be a cult leader or whatever, or say my way or the highway. I'm just saying I have 10 years of experience, trial and error. I was fruitarian. I was liquidarian. I was high-fat, low-carb, raw vegan. I was high-carb, low-fat, raw vegan. I was high-protein, raw vegan, even though that's really, really hard. I tried all these different things, right? And none of it worked. And I've come back to balance. I've come back to a balance of, let's say, 40% protein, 30% carb, 30% fat, something like that, right? Balance, not cutting out an entire macronutrient. That's insane. Why would you cut out an entire macronutrient? It's like cutting out an entire food group. It doesn't make sense, right? And that's why I think this whole gluten-free thing, and I got a lot of questions like, Matt, I see you eat sprouted toast for breakfast a lot. I can't do that. Gluten messes me up. Well, might want to look into endotoxin, lipopolysaccharide endotoxin. 1 raw carrot a day. It's not for nutrition. It's for endotoxin detox. Spore-based probiotics. I wrote an article on my website. If you haven't read my blogs on Matt-Blackburn, check them out, because I put a lot of time into those. They're like little mini essays. I would say my best one is definitely the CLF protocol. I had a lot of fun writing that one up, and I think it's really good. And it's a work in progress, right? It's version 1 because I'm going to keep adding to it. But that's a really, really good starting place. And I would say, context, if you're a recovering vegan and, you're recovering from all the spiritual frequency, vibration, ideology of eating flesh and red meat, which is required for human health. If you're recovering for that, just go out and get a big, fat, juicy steak, right? Get a grass-fed steak, right? Maybe go to your friend that knows how to cook it really well on the grill and just have that experience and just really tune in to how your brain's feeling, how it feels to have that light bulb going on in your head, right? I get a lot of scared vegans telling me, Matt, what do I do? Like, what do I just do eggs? I'm like, no, go get bison. Go get ground bison and go eat a pound of it, right? And maybe have some potatoes on the side. I really like white potatoes. Of course, I'm in Idaho, so I have the best potatoes, but really well-cooked potatoes. I cook my potatoes for an hour in the convection oven, about 350, 375. And I'll eat 5, 6, 7, 8 potatoes at a time, slathered in butter. And potatoes are fascinating. There's a whole potato diet or something. But potatoes contain something called keto acids. And keto acids will combine with excess ammonia in your body, which is really interesting. Your liver has an ammonia cycle. And because of all the pollutants we have, NPK, acid rain, you could be in a constant ammonia cycle, so your liver's just dumping ammonia into your body 24/7, and you could smell it. So that's part of the reason why people smell. So potatoes will actually bind to excess ammonia with these keto acids and form EAAs, essential amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, and the other ones, which you can make the rest, the other 14 for the 22 total amino acids. Then from there, you can make the thousands of amino acids that make up your enzymes, your neurotransmitters, right? Your tissues, all these different things. So it's really fascinating. I'm kind of obsessed with potatoes right now. I haven't really talked about that too much, but if people see me on Instagram, they'll see a lot of potato dinners just because I think, I'll do potatoes and some bone broth, a cup of bone broth, just, as a backup for the protein, because I'm not banking on potatoes for my protein, but I do feel a boost. For sure, especially with a lot of butter on it. I'll do some Dr. Cowan's powders on there and some Icelandic sea salt, and that's really delicious. So it's always fun to connect with you guys like this on the show, just do a little monologue style. And scroll through my episodes. If you start listening to me at some point, go back. Please go back in the archive and the one with Danny Roddy, sugar, dairy, and metabolic health. That one got a lot of listens. That was one of my most listened to shows, in fact. And I think that was over 2 hours, 2.5 hours or so. And Danny Roddy, he's been studying repeat way longer than I have. And he's an amazing guy, great YouTube videos, great information, and just really practical stuff. He's really foundational. And he doesn't really talk about water, NPK, or we all have our thing, right? And that's why I have my CLF protocol. But everyone has a little piece of the puzzle, right? And I always get asked about Morley Robbins and Matt, why do you like Morley Robbins? He promotes cod liver oil. It's I'm not going to hate the guy because we have different opinions on this one little thing. I agree with him on 99% of things, right? So I consider him a mentor, a friend, and I think he has amazing information, and he's helped and will help a lot more people. And so with the cod liver oil thing, just to put an end to that, discussion, I do not endorse cod liver. I will never endorse it. And I think there's better sources of fat-soluble vitamins, even butter oil. If you want to get an extract of A and D, just get butter oil. Right? I can't remember the brand. I think it's Weston A. Price sells it, their foundation. Cod liver oil has a lot of PUFAs. We're talking in the 4, 5, 6 gram range, right, per serving. has a lot of omega-3s with A and D. Right? And so why are you taking that hit? Why don't you just do butter oil and get the A and D without all that PUFA? So I think that's a smarter way to go. And I don't supplement A and D at all. My source for A and D, well, for A, it's a lot of dairy. I drink a lot of milk. I do a lot of butter. I do Amish butter. Do a lot of ghee and cheese. And, D is in all those things as well. And just as a backup, since I'm here in the winter and there's no UV for another 4 months, I do the Spurti vitamin D lamp. And that's amazing. I really feel the difference. Just 2 minutes front, 2 minutes back, and no financial affiliation with them. I just think that's a great, easy, affordable product. It lasts forever. You just have to replace the bulbs very, very rarely. I mean, like I said, a dose is 4 minutes once a day. And if you do more than that, you'll likely burn. I do. And I've been kind of speaking out about sunbathing because there's this whole quantum community that I was a part of that is all about megadosing seafood, right? Megadosing DHA and then getting out in the sun. And I lived that and preached that for years, and I recant that and I apologize for that, right? Because I didn't know any better. I didn't know about the word lipofuscin. I didn't know that existed because it's a conspiracy and it's hidden. I didn't know that lipofuscin's real, the unseen epidemic, but it is seen. Because you go to the health food store and you see someone, an elderly person, and you see the receding hairline, let's just say it like in a male, and you'll see all these spots. Next time you're at the store, look at an older person, right? Don't be creepy or weird, but just glance over and look at their forehead, and on the sides of their forehead, you'll see all these spots. That's omega-3 and iron poisoning. And then look at their hands. And on the back side of their hand, you'll see a lot of spots. Sometimes it'll even creep up their forearm. For every spot visible on the skin, that person has 10 to 100,000 below the surface. So those spots on the skin are just the tip of the iceberg. That's scary. That's really scary. And people have no idea, and their doctors prescribing omega-3s, and Andrew Weil and and all these people are like omega-3s. That's why I started Mitolife Radio. Let's educate people. Let's start a revolution. Let's disrupt, throw a wrench in the omega-3 industry, start the conversation on mainstream television. Let's get into it. Let's really work on this, because I think it will benefit people with diabetes specifically, and cancer specifically, and neurodegeneration, because omega-3s cause all three of those diseases. So I think that's a great place to end. Thank you guys for listening. Happy New Year. I have really exciting episodes planned out for you. And keep up with my Facebook and Instagram. I post pretty frequently on there. Have some fun stories. And check out my website, matt-blackburn.com. I'll post updates there as well. And I frequently switch out my recommended products. And I always get questions, where do I start? What products do I buy first? If you go to matt-blackburn, I have the featured products there right on the front page. And there's 9 products. And you could go to the full, I think you click shop and it shows all of them. But those are my top products I recommend right on the front page. And so you can kind of see right there. And the water filter's up there, the travel system. Which again, don't waste your money on an alkaline water filter. It's a waste. Get the Pristine Hydro Travel Unit. I did when I was living with my parents. Came back from the store excited, hooked it up in the bathroom. First time drinking real water my entire life. It was a game changer. So my brand, Mitolife, have some exciting new products coming out. Very innovative, nothing like them on the market. And those will be released in January or February. So keep building out that product line, which will go hand in hand with the CLF protocol. They'll support the CLF protocol, every product I come out with. So that can be found at mitolife.co. thank you guys for all the patience during my growing pains and with shipping, and I was moving and all these things. So really appreciate your support and just words of encouragement with Mitolife. All the testimonials too. I get insane testimonials, especially about Dissolve It All, but also the vitamin E and the Shilajit. Just like, Matt, these products are changing my life, and that just really puts wind in my sails. That really makes me feel good. I love helping people. So thank you guys so much for listening, and let's have a great 2020.